We are going to multiply two binomials. Again, a binomial is a polynomial with two terms. So this is one of our binomials, two terms. This is the other binomial, two terms. We're going to take these two terms, multiply it by those two terms. The rule says every term here has to be multiplied by every term there. So if we begin x times x, which is x squared, then we'll do x times positive 4, which is positive 4x. Then we'll do 2 times x, which is positive 2x. Last, we'll do positive 2 times positive 4. That will give us positive 8. How many multiplications took place? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 multiplications took place when we multiply binomial by binomial. Once we are done with all the multiplying, we'll combine like terms. As you can see, this term in green and the term in blue, those are like terms. So we'll go ahead and combine like terms. 4x plus 2x is positive 6x. We still have this x squared, and we still have positive 8. This is the simplified product. X squared plus 6x plus 8 is the product of x plus 2 times x plus 4. Multiplying a binomial, which is two terms, by another binomial, which is two terms. Two terms times two terms, a binomial times a binomial. Does anyone have any questions about example number 1? Casper?
You can do it in any order.
Any order. As long as each of these are multiplied by each of those, it doesn't matter what order you do it in. Any other questions about example 1? So this method that we just did here was a horizontal distributive setup. I want to show you another option, which is called a grid setup. Some students prefer the grid. Some students prefer just doing it horizontally. So when we do the grid setup, if you are using Edmodo, you have it there. If not, you want to just draw this little grid. Since we're doing a binomial by binomial, two terms by two terms, the grid has to be 2 by 2. If we're doing two terms by two terms, the grid has to be 2 by 2. We're going to take the first two terms, positive x and positive 2. We'll line up, all right, we'll take the first two terms, positive x and positive 2, and we'll line them up along one side of the grid. Then the other two terms, positive x, positive 4, we'll line them up on the other side of the grid. And we'll just multiply corresponding factors and get the product. We'll place that product in the box. So here we have x and x. So x times x is x squared. That would go inside the grid. Then we have x times positive 2, which is positive 2x. We have positive 4 times x, which is positive 4x. Then we have positive 4 times positive 2, which is positive 8. So the grid setup gets us the same 4 multiplications like the horizontal distributive setup. Once you have your terms, you could just write your terms and combine like terms. So after we do the grid setup, we'll take our terms, x squared, positive 2x, positive 4x, and positive 8. And then we'll combine like terms and we are done. X squared plus 6x plus 8. As you can see, both methods yield the same results. X squared plus 6x plus 8 using the grid setup. X squared plus 6x plus 8 using the horizontal distributive setup. We have 2 terms times 3 terms, so we know there's going to be a total of 6 multiplications taking place. Every term in this binomial has to be multiplied by every single term in that trinomial. I need some guidance. Isabella.
You do x times x to the second, which is x to the third.
Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Then you do x to 3x, which is
3x squared. Continue.
then you do x times negative 5, that's negative 5x.
Negative 5x. Thank you. Someone new. We're not done here. Radhima.
You do negative 2 times x squared, which is negative 2x squared.
Negative 2x squared.
And then you multiply.
Hold on, let me catch up. I got it.
And then you multiply negative 2 by 3x, which is negative 6x.
Negative 6x.
And then you multiply negative 2 by negative 5, which is positive 10.
Positive 10. How many multiplications took place? 6. Because we did a binomial by a trinomial. 6 multiplications took place. Now we have to combine like terms. Can anyone identify a pair of like terms? Daria.
3x squared and 2x squared. It's going to be x squared.
Yes, positive 3x squared and negative 2x squared is x squared, positive x squared. Are there any other pairs? Malachi. Negative 5x and negative 6x, and that sum is negative 11x. Are there any other like terms? No, so we'll just bring the rest of them down. Positive 10 and x to the third. X to the third plus x squared minus 11x plus 10. This is the product, the product of these two polynomials. Are there any questions about this example here? All right, last but not least, let's just take a look at what the grid method would look like. So in this case, instead of the grid being 2 by 2, this grid is 2 by 3, and it makes sense why, yes?
Yeah.
All right, so along the top, we'll place the trinomial, and along the side, we'll place the binomial, and then we'll just multiply accordingly. X times x squared is x to the third. X times positive 3x is positive 3x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. X squared times negative 2, negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times positive 3x is negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 5 gives you positive 10. After you have filled in your grid, copy all your terms and then combine like terms. So we have x to the third, positive 3x squared, negative 2x squared. As you can see on the diagonal, we have our like terms on the diagonal. Let me show you. Our like terms are on the diagonal. We have negative 5x and negative 6x. So these two on this diagonal are like terms. And then we have positive 10. And when we combine x to the third plus x squared minus 11x plus 10 is our product. The same answer we got when we did it using the horizontal distributive setup.
God bless you. God bless you.
Are there any questions? Alejandro. Yeah. Yeah.